All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect and the men that are serving in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth to make their calling and election sure. So, real quick, I found a video that goes into the different steps of starvation and how starvation breaks down the human body. Okay, and it's a very slow matter, but it's painful on different levels. And basically, the inspiration for this video is the scriptures, because the Lord said that in the last days He would send famine, plagues, pestilence. And real quick, I'll just grab that. This is 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 5. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." So real quick, I'll just grab the definition for famine. This is the Merriam-Webster dictionary definition. And the definition for famine says an extreme scarcity of food. Number 2, archaic, starvation. Number 3, a ravenous appetite, which means that when America collapses, when the Heavenly Father collapses the American economy, okay, there's not going to be any food out here. You know, people are going to be fighting over the smallest things, a pack of crackers, you know. So it's definitely important that you fear, reverence, and come back to this truth. If you happen to be a part of the 12 tribes of Israel's so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, so that you can abide under the shadow of the Heavenly Father during these terrible times that we're coming into. You know, and famine is just one of the many plagues that the Heavenly Father is gonna use to destroy 2/3 of our people and the rest of these heathens out here. Okay. Now, this is Lamentations 4:9. It says, "They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger, for these pine away, stricken through for want of fruits of the field." Okay, so the scripture saying that it is better to be slain with the sword than to be slain with hunger. And we know that the modern day sword could be ultimately it's the gun, okay, but you would be better off being put to death, you know, with a fatal blow to the head, or a stab to your chest than to go out through hunger. Okay. So we're gonna play this video, and it's gonna break down the different levels of starvation and how it affects the human body.
This next image is going to show how an eating disorder can affect your whole body. Let's start with the brain. When a person has been starved or malnourished for a long period of time, their brain actually shrinks. This means that they cannot think clearly or rationally.
All right. So when you first start suffering starvation, the first thing that happens to you is your brain shrinks. Okay. And then it says you're unable to think clearly and rationally, which would cause people to go into a ravenous state, to where they're willing to eat just about anything. Women, the scriptures say that women will eat their children in those days. You know, you women, you know, I don't mean to get off topic, but you don't take much care for your children anyway. You know, you women are likened unto ostriches that bury their eggs in the sand, where anyone could just walk by and step on them. So it's pretty believable that women would eat their children in those days. So yeah, it says unable to think clearly and rationally. So you're gonna make ravenous decisions, you know, especially when you got an appetite like that.
They have trouble maintaining focus and concentration. In terms of their mood, they may become irritable, moody, and very withdrawn. Moving on to their
Okay, and then we gotta understand we're going into a time like Jacob's trouble, where men are not gonna have pity on anyone. When it comes to eating. In America, we live in a gluttonous society where the average person has no idea what it's like to fast. Okay, no one cooks anymore. Um, the fast food lines are especially on weekends. The fast food lines are full. Okay, so we live in a society that caters to gluttony. So could you imagine, especially in America, when the Heavenly Father sends a famine, the way that it'll affect people when the McDonald's that they used to could walk to down the street, okay, is no longer a McDonald's, but some type of headquarters for some type of military base, and they can't eat. People are going to go crazy.
hair. If someone has been starved for some time, their hair becomes thin and brittle and may actually start to fall out. Abnormal hair will also grow in other parts of their body. Starvation also affects the heart by lowering blood pressure and heart rate, and sometimes causing an irregular heart rhythm. Starvation also causes the bone marrow to shut down. It stops producing red and white cells that are essential for the immune function of our body. If you are not putting enough protein or carbohydrates or other minerals and salts into your body, this can cause your muscles and joints to weaken and fail. The kidneys go into failure without enough fluids in the body, particularly affecting potassium, sodium, and magnesium levels. Your intestines are not being stimulated to push through food, so they become slow, and this causes constipation and bloating. When you do not have enough nutrition or energy in your body, in a period of prolonged starvation or malnourishment, the body will stop producing adequate levels of hormones. In young girls, this causes periods to stop and could compromise future fertility. In young boys,
Notice how in this video they chose to use the reproductive organs of a woman instead of a male. Okay.
it causes lower testosterone levels. Moving on to the skin. Starvation also compromises the integrity of the skin. It causes skin to bruise easily and heal much.
Just another thought. This is why a lot of you women are going to take that chip. You're going to take the mark of the beast because you women live in a society that caters to you. Okay. You women, you love to eat. They tell you that it's a little known fact among men that basically you take a woman out, just take her to eat. If you want her, take her to eat. So we're expecting a lot of you women to take that chip, and ultimately you're gonna be put to death by the Heavenly Father.
Slower. Starvation and malnourishment cause a reduction in the body's metabolic rate as it's trying to adapt to less food and less energy. Over time, the body will reduce the heart rate and blood pressure with the lowered metabolic rate. After several more weeks, the body will then stop sending as much blood to the surface of the skin to conserve energy. This makes the young person feel cold and tired. A low metabolic rate over time causes skin changes and the young person will feel cold. There is less glucose and energy going to the brain, and this makes you feel tired, weak, and more irritable. After many months of starvation, the body will adapt further by not maintaining hair growth. Instead, hair is shed, and new hair grows in different places on the body to help keep the body warm. Muscles will shrink or atrophy, and more importantly for young women, their periods will stop as this takes a tremendous amount of energy. There was a study in the mid-1950s looking at the impact of prolonged starvation on the human body. This study showed that starvation to a certain degree caused thought patterns in the brain to change such that it was difficult to eat to regain the weight lost. This has been backed up by more recent studies of brain imaging showing that the brain shrinks when starved, and that this is related to changes in thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. Recent studies also show that brain structure changes again with refeeding and renourishment, and that some of the changes observed during starvation may become less intense.
All right, so basically, you get the point. This is 2020, the year of prophecy, and since the apostle Tahar deemed this year the year of prophecy, prophecy has been kicking off at a high rate. Okay, if this coronavirus thing continues, people are going to run to the stores. They're going to take all of the food out of their house, off the shelves, just like what they did in China. Okay, now over there in China, those people are welded into their apartment buildings and they can't get out. And you can only imagine that the food lasts so long. Now those Moabites slash Chinese, if they'll eat a cat, a dog, a snake, a bat, which they would like to say the coronavirus came from, then they're more than willing to eat a human. Okay, so applying that to if that was to happen over here in America, where people are used to being able to just eat continuously, with there being fast food restaurants on every corner. Imagine imagine the extent that people would go to just so they could eat. Okay, so ultimately we know that this is one of the plagues that the Heavenly Father is sending on the earth, and it's a famine of a lack of food. Okay, starvation. And I'm gonna read this again. This is Lamentations 4:9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. Because when you're being put to death by the sword, by let's say a fatal stab or a shotgun wound, you're liable to bleed out in a matter of hours. Okay, or instantly you could die. But when you're dying of famine and starvation, that's a slow process. Okay, your body starts to decompose from the inside out. All right, and the first thing that goes is your brain, your ability to make rational decisions. Okay, which puts you in that ravenous state. You're in a state of survival, and ultimately you're gonna turn into a fucking zombie. All right, your 2-year-old son is gonna start to look like a steak dinner to you. So that's one of the many plagues that the Heavenly Father is sending on the earth. Okay, now we understand that through the Spirit, through the Scriptures, that the Lord is gonna protect His elect. His men that are serving in truth and sincerity. This is Job chapter 5, verse 19. It says, He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. In famine he shall redeem thee. So the Lord's men are going to eat. Okay. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Okay, so it says in famine he shall redeem thee from death. You got these people that are building up all these bunkers, these underground bunkers, where they're stockpiling food and all the things that they need, thinking that they're gonna ride out whatever it is to come. But little do they know the Heavenly Father is having them build those bunkers and store all that food in there for His men. Okay. It says, again, this is verse 20. It says, in famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of the destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh. So the Lord saying at destruction and famine, His men are going to laugh. It says, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beast of the earth. Khan. So with that being said, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash, Double honor to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect and the men that are serving in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth to make their calling and election sure. Shalom.